One take, one take. This is NBA One Take featuring yours truly, Pretty Boy Laker. This is NBA One Take for your head. NBA One Take for your brain. Coming to you live, Brooklyn, New York's NBA One Take. December 9th, 2022. Okay, there was no games for me on the docket because there's some NBA news I just want to really talk about. And the first one I really have to talk about, something that's been happening for months. One of the most talked about stories in not just all of sports, but all of media, is the release of one superstar, Brittney Griner. And from the Russian prison, she was detained for cannabis oil and a cartridge, and you know, my thing was, at first, my take, you know, I always just say for certain things, and you know, I had just you know, kind of upset at her, let's say, not knowing certain things, and but as I educated myself on certain things, I knew certain things, and then I just wanted her to come back and you know, be with her family and everything like that. So, Brittney Griner, I'm happy she's back. You know, I hear that her and her family, everybody, is gonna, you know, stand with, you know, people being unlawfully in prison. You know, especially in Russia. It's bad. It's real bad over there. You know, and I always explain that female basketball players have there's a liking abroad for female sports, and they pay their athletes a really good wage, and the WNBA, as great as they are at social things like that, the wages is not fairly distributed to their players. And you know, people talk about loss of revenue and everything like that, you know, but you know, it's tough, and superstars like her and others got to go abroad to really make a good living, you know, and to be able to really truly support, you know, their family, because, you know, being a professional athlete is tough. Being out there and busting your ass and preparing yourself and doing all these things, it's tough. It's extremely tough. And for them to do that, plus they got to play in the summer in the WNBA, you know, playing home, play in front of their family and everything like that. These things means a lot to them. And Brittney Griner, you know, what she did, you know, is mainly to manage pain and other things. You know, she's not doing hard drugs and all this other things. She's managing pain. The woman's 6'9". She's tall. You know, I had a brief encounter with her, I think back in 2016. I was coming out of work, and I saw her and a couple of her teammates that's playing Liberty. And, you know, I dapped her up, you know, say you out there killing, say I see you and anything like that. No, they take no picture or anything like that. She's out celebrating. She just had the hoodie on, but she showed love, and I was just a real appreciative of that. I was thinking to myself, wait, man, the way she come on TV and certain things, and, and maybe kind of thing, but I just, stepped up, and they necessarily want me to. Some I see pro athletes, I dap them up, appreciate them, and I kind of move on. I don't do the extra. I don't even take pictures and stuff like that. If they ask for a picture, then possibly I'll probably say yes or no or whatever. But that's how I am. But I'm glad she's home, and she's gonna be an advocate. No matter what they're saying on social media, and I actually was going at people talking about bad trades and hashtag bad trade, all this, and talking about who she got swapped for. And these things have been happening for so long. Okay? Throughout the country, throughout the world. So let's not, because of the high stakes and what was going on, this is what it was. So this this is just a step in the right direction, I feel, and with potentially being, others. Okay, the next thing I'll talk about is Kyrie and Nike. Now, I'm actually, Nike stuck with Kyrie. With this briefly, they suspended him and things like that. You could say whatever. But then they dropped Kyrie. So now Kyrie is wearing, he's covering the logos on his sneakers. He put out a statement, talking about, and if you ever support me with family, maybe something's going to happen. Maybe he got a new shoe coming out. Maybe something. Now we hear, I think the reason they're dropping him is because they are going to give Ja Morant a signature shoe to try to be that next superstar signature shoe and really pump out some, because Ja Morant is a superstar player. The kids love him. People's been talking about him getting a signature shoe line for a while, so it looks like he's gonna get one. And so that they just made this decision they could just drop Kyrie and altogether, because they suspended him at first, right? You suspend somebody, his thing. We thinking they coming back, but because of Ja Morant and everything like that, they could say, look, we can afford to cut ties with him and just go in a different direction. And they did that. And people fault Nike. I kind of don't. On the business side, I think the ethics, though, is something that is what that company has always done. You could say what it is. They kind of, follow certain trends, and they navigate through the waves. That's what they do. They used to break barriers. Now they just navigate through the waves because they're not a innovative company to break certain barriers anymore. They've broken those barriers, and right now they're just riding the waves off of those, and that's what they do. Nike's been doing that. That's what they do. This is not something thing. They was with Colin Kaepernick and And his trials threw it out. Colin Kaepernick was still signed to Nike when everybody else was dropping him. But Nike felt too many people, his people that's supporting, and they hold a vast majority of buying equity in our company. So because of that, we're not gonna release him out his contract. We'll still pay him, but what we're going to do is, when the time is right, we'll openly support him, which they did years later. So this is what Nike do, and this is what they do. I told you, they used to be an innovative. Now they're kind of riding the wave. They ride the wave. Wherever it's steering at the most, it's not affecting their bottom line, they're going to ride the wave. Now, the next thing I got to talk about is Trae Young, right? I already talked about Trae Young. There's issues with Nate McMillan, where that's going to go. But he bought a house. Clay Matthews' house. The football player used to play for, famous football player used to play with the Green Bay Packers with the hair like that. And for $20 million. Now people buy houses all the time. They buy it. They buy houses. Because that's where they go in the off season. Now, people ask me, well, yeah, is there a connection? Is he possibly going to play with the Lakers? Is he possibly going to go with the Clippers? It's a possible. Why I say there's a possibility? Because the clock is ticking on Atlanta. Why is the clock ticking on Atlanta? Because here he signed a one deal. Trae Young is starting to get these endorsements, right? He loves the star, right? He wants to be that. And what better places to do that is to do it in LA, right? He could do it in LA. In 3 years, he could do it. LeBron James will either be on his last leg of being out, or he won't be there altogether. And they still will have that draft pick, right? So, Trae Young going to LA? Yeah. To the Lakers? Yes, it's a possibility. Him going to the Clippers? Yes, it's a possibility. Why? Because Kawhi Leonard may not even be there. Why? Because he didn't sign an extension. Oh, wow. What about Paul George? Yes, he may be out. Because this extension be up. 3 years. That's the clock on Atlanta. 3 years. Clock. He bought the house. He's going to be in the summertime, adjust to LA. And what do you think is happening after that? You know? The clock is going down. You know? You got to understand these things. You think you guys don't really understand it, you know? But this is NBA One Take. It's Pretty Boy Laker, and I'm out.